Hey.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Coffee with Tracey. I am your host, Tracey Osborne. I have a very special guest with me today, and I'm super excited to talk with her. Diana Elizabeth Jordan is a living example of triumphing over adversity and resiliency. Diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which mildly affects her speech and her gait, so you might hear a little bit of speech impediment when we talk today, but that's okay. She was diagnosed around age 2. She grew up with a tenacious determination to not let adversity stand in the way of achieving her dreams. Diana was the first actress with a disability to obtain a Master's of Fine Arts in Acting from California State University, Long Beach. She also holds certificates in occupational therapy, social emotional arts, and is studying drama therapy. She's an award-winning actress. She's been cast in over 40 plays, film, and television. She's a member of the SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity Association.
Yes.
She's also an accomplished director and producer. As a professional storyteller speaker, Diana is committed to edutaining audiences in inclusive diversity, inspiration, empathy, personal growth, and professional development through her expressive arts company, the Rainbow Butterfly Cafe. And my husband forgot to turn off his cell phone. So you're going to hear it ringing in the background, but it's all good. Oh, that was my daughter's cell phone, even better. Whether portraying a character or sharing a personal story, Diana touches the hearts of audiences with her humor, creativity, vulnerability, and honesty. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so first I have to know, have I seen you at anything on film and TV?
Unless maybe not. I did an episode of 7-7 years ago, and I've done some short films that have been in festivals. You can, though. I will give you YouTube links to a couple of my short films, so yes.
Oh, very cool. That'll be awesome.
I am visible in social media, and I have some of my work on YouTube and Vimeo. And then I just did a horror film, feature film in April. So hopefully when that comes out, I'm sure it will be out maybe early next year. That you might be able to see that, and you never know.
Sweet. You'll have to let me know when that comes out, and I'll share it with everyone.
You're on my list now over my shows.
Perfect. All right, so today we're going to talk about roadblocks, traffic jams, and annoying potholes. And, these are all the obstacles that come up during life and life challenges. And, you've obviously had some major challenges to deal with and overcome, but I know you're not comfortable with the statement that you overcame your disability. So why is that?
Well, the reason I'm not, and let me say that things, and I say in regard to my journey with my disability, are very, very personal, and another person may have a very different perspective. So I want to say this from the outgo. This is what I've learned about myself, and I'm not speaking for the people with disabilities. I'm speaking on my personal journey of self-acceptance. The reason I became uncomfortable with overcoming usually means to get over something, and I realized that for me, my disability is permanent. I've had it my whole life. I was born, when I was born, I didn't breathe on my own for 45 minutes. So it was the lack of oxygen that caused the brain damage to the motor area of the brain, which is cerebral palsy, a neurological disorder. And what I began to realize is that I didn't necessarily need to overcome my disability. And not that I don't need to work on my speech and do things to keep myself in good physical condition, and I do stretches and exercises just to make sure I'm in a good place. But what I really needed to overcome were the attitudes about my disability, were the attitudes that told me I may not be good enough, that I may not be, because I had a disability, because I speak this way and walk this way, that somehow made me less than a little bit, that somehow I was less equal. Or people would say, well, you have to realize you have a disability. Well, so what? The fact that I have a disability mean that, does that make me less than or not, you know, that's why I don't like the word normal, because what's normal? For me, having a speech impediment and walking with a gait is very normal for somebody with cerebral palsy.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone who has cerebral palsy has a speech impediment, but a lot of people do. So that's very normal for me. And I grew up with the word, she's not normal, and I really, although I understand sometimes they have norms to create these, you know, they create standards. Sometimes you have to have this, this is the norm. But I think that word normal for me was really challenging growing up, because I felt like, you know, she's not, well, I am normal. There are many things wrong. My friends may tell you I'm not normal.
I don't think there is a true.
Let me rephrase that.
Right. I don't think there's a true definition of normal. You know, we all are unique in our own way.
Exactly.
So, like you said, what's normal for you may not seem normal for me, but what's normal for me may not seem normal for you.
Right.
So,
I mean,
there is a definition.
I'm sure a lot of people, like last night, I was working on a sauna in my apartment doing emotional exercises. That's very normal for me. I don't know if a lot of people, because I'm an actor, so for me to do exercises where I'm working on a sonnet and going through kind of different emotions, that's something I do as part of my practice. I don't know if people would all consider that normal, and that some people might think that's a little weird, but for me as an actor, the things I do as an actor are very normal for me. So again, when I say I had to overcome the stigmas that told me
Right.
I wasn't good enough, or that somehow I need to think of myself differently because I have a disability. I need to accept that. I need to accept that people might treat me differently because I have a disability, and therefore maybe negative behavior is okay. Things like that. It's like, well, Diana, you have to understand you have a disability. You may make people uncomfortable. And I said, well, what is it that makes you uncomfortable? If I walk in the room and say, hi, Tracey, how are you? And you're uncomfortable.
That's not your fault. That's something on me.
Right, yeah.
That's an issue that I would need to deal with.
Exactly, and I want to share a story. In fact, when I was, I got my MFA at Cal State Long Beach, but before that I was in a program for about a year that I left in Chicago, a master's program, and I was doing a scene with a woman. We were working on a Shakespeare scene, and I just felt there was this weird vibe, and so I finally said, everything okay? And she goes, well, you know, I'm not comfortable, I don't understand, you know, the disability, I don't understand it, missing, you know, I don't know why you're doing this, I don't understand. And I looked at her and I said, what do you want to do about that? Because if you don't want to work with me, I need to know so I can find the same partner that will work with me. Mm-hmm. But if you're uncomfortable and I'm here to do the work, what are you going to do about that? And she looked at me, I'll never forget it, and she went, wow, this is my issue. And I go, yes, it is. So let me know if we're going to be able to work on this scene or not. Because if we're not, fine.
Right.
But if we are, if we can move forward, because I would love to work with you. I think you're a good actress. I would love to work with you. So you need to do what work you need to do so we can get past this, because I'm okay with who I am. And it changed, it made that flip because, yeah, if I walk into a room and I'm yelling and screaming and throwing things and whatever, yes, that behavior makes people uncomfortable and that's okay. But if I just walk into a room and say hi and I'm myself, which I think is a pretty nice person most of the time. I have my moments.
Don't we all?
Then whose responsibility is it to get past that level of discomfort? And so that's what I meant about, it's more about overcoming the stigma of that I had to overcome. And I had to realize that I had embraced some of the things I heard about me, that I kind of believe that story too. I kind of believe that maybe I shouldn't, or maybe there was a time when I believed I allowed those things to affect me in a different way than they do now. So that's what I mean by that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. And, I love that you have adopted that. And I'm sure it's taken you a long time to get to that point. And, and I think at some point in our lives, most of us have that, regardless of if we have, a unique challenge, disability, whatever you want to call it. I don't really like the word disability, but, it's your uniqueness. It's what makes you you.
Right.
So, what was it like? I mean, I'm sure growing up, it was probably kind of tough, people didn't really want to accept you and stuff. So, what steps did you take to get to the point where you were okay with yourself? Because we need to learn how to be okay with ourselves, and we need to learn that what other people think about us isn't our problem. It's not our responsibility. So how did you get to that point?
It's still a continuing process and journey, because things would come up and I'll think, it's a process. But I think I got to that point just to really learn, learning, and really sometimes I think there are times when you have to question, does that make sense? Really, does it really make sense that I shouldn't pursue an acting career if it's something I love, if it's something I've been told I have a skill in, just because I have a disability? Now, pursuing an acting career and a journey in and of itself is just a whole nother, that's a whole nother show. But I realized a lot of stuff, if I'm gonna use my disability as an excuse, I can use it for anything. I can use it as a reason not to be a social worker. Too. I mean, I can always use that as an excuse. My journey growing up was tough. I was mainstream, so I did get picked on a lot, like a lot of kids do who are different. I was usually one of the only kids with a disability in my class. Usually one of the only kids who was African American, because I went to predominantly white schools. So I kind of always felt like this outsider. But I will say that by the time I got to high school, what really saved me, I think, because I realize now that I had depression back in high school. I was diagnosed in 2004, but I think I had my first round in high school, because now that I know what it is, I know that I've dealt with depression since I was a teenager. But really what saved me was theater, being in the theater department, and that's where I felt really accepted and embraced. And when I look back on it now, because I was a kid that was mainstreamed, and I remember I had the theater teacher, Mr. Idrum, God bless him, he passed away several years ago, but I took his acting class, and I remember we had these scenes we had to do. We had this like scene book for teens or whatever. And when I went up do my scene, everyone opened their scene book. Understood her, raise their hands if you understood her. And no one raised their hands. And he called me over after class, and I was so mortified, and I thought, he's going to kick me out of class. He's going to say I can't take the class. And he says to me, Diana, by the end of this semester, I want everyone to raise their hands. And so here, and I didn't have the confidence at routine that I have now. So that was such a gift because that told me, and I have these teachers who didn't say don't try it. They said, this is going to be very difficult for you because it's challenging to be an actor no matter what. But if this is what you want to do, go for it. And I have a letter that a teacher wrote me that said, I'm not theater. I'm not saying it will be easy for you, but your hard work and determination will pay off. And it has.
Well, I think that's amazing. I'm like all warm fuzzies and everything. It is fantastic that you had that person in your life that could really just take you and say, we're going to do this. We're going to do this together. I'm going to help you figure this out. And, so many of us, I think, don't have that. And then, especially with any of the challenge that we have, and every one of us has some kind of a challenge in their life, whether it's a physical disability, it's a learning disability, whatever, it's self-esteem, whatever. We all have our challenges. And but to have somebody that can come up to you and say, I'm here for you, I'm going to help you, and I want to see you succeed, that is phenomenal. That is just absolutely phenomenal. I just get all warm fuzzy.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, I've had people like that throughout my life, and the counterbalances the other stuff. And you're right about challenges. I think what's really interesting for me is when you meet me, I think some of my challenges seem really obvious. The speech, the way I walk, that's very obvious. But I think, but there are many people, and that's why I think sharing stories are so important. If people are willing to share, you can't. I mean, I remember I was watching one of your episodes. I think it was Sasha. I can't remember. And you both talked about having dealt with domestic violence in your lives. Well, you can look at me and hear my speech and say, "Oh, that must be tough. She has a speech impediment." I noticed that. I can look at you and go, well, what problem does Tracey have? She seems okay. So I don't know. Looking at you, there's no look necessarily, unless there are physical scars that say I've been through domestic violence. But that doesn't mean that whatever you've been through doesn't challenge you, and you've had to do what you need to do to get to where you are now.
Right.
So.
And it's a work in progress. It's something I have to work on every day.
I am too. And I think sometimes because people say, oh, Diana, you're so strong, you're so this, sometimes I have to say, but yes, it is hard. And I do cry and I do get scared. But I just know that I have to go through that valley. It's like this. Sometimes I accept that sometimes I'm going to be in the pit.
Right.
And I'll go through a pit. But I also know from past experiences that I will come out of that pit. Because I always have and I always will. It may take me a while. But I know if I go down in that pit, eventually I'm going to climb my way out, and I think I'm always a better person, and I learn stuff when I go through really difficult challenges.
It makes us
I learn
stronger.
things about myself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes us stronger. All those different challenges, they make us who we are today. So, yeah, I have been in several abusive relationships, and yes, I was raped when I was 18. Um, I've been through a lot of things, but there's people out there who've been through worse situations than I have. So I can't sit there and say, oh well, I don't want to play that victimology and get stuck in the victim.
Mhm.
Like I'm a victim of cerebral palsy, so oh woe is me. Everybody needs to give me the world. We could
Right.
easily get stuck in that, and it's tough not to sometimes. I think when we're in that mindset. But like you said, it's hills and valleys, and I'm in a valley this week. I'm supposed to be actually spending most of this week writing my next book and working on the subsequent course that goes with the book. And I was sitting there yesterday trying to write it, and I'm going, why am I doing this? Who am I to write this book? Who am I to
Right.
say that I can teach you how to do this? And so I was having those self-doubt moments, and
Right.
I have them too. I'm not perfect. So I reached out to my support team and I said, look, here's where I'm at. This is what I'm feeling. Why in the world am I doing this? And they're like, because you're awesome and you know your stuff and you can teach people how to build a 6-figure business because you've done it. Okay. you know,
I always say, who are you not to, Tracy? Who are you not to
exactly.
do
Yeah.
this? But
Yeah.
because here's the thing, and this is what I love about all of us speaking and doing what we do is you are gonna reach. I mean, there is competition, but there's not.
Sure.
We all when you apply or submit for a conference, there might be 5 speakers and 1 or 2 are picked. However, your book is gonna reach the people it's supposed to reach, and let me know when you write it because I want one when you're done.
It's supposed to come out in September, so I need to get busy.
Yeah, but when you think of how many people are in the world, how many women are in the world, how many women who have been through domestic violence who may not. I talk about depression because I know there are people who are not willing to talk about it because they're afraid, because they may feel shame. So I talk about my depression. I talk about having dark thoughts and suicidal thoughts. I talk about what that's like so people can know they're not alone, and I can say, you know what, this is what I do when those thoughts come, because they do. And when they come, I think about my nephews who are 10 and 6 and how badly I want to see them grow up. And if I do something, and how I also don't want my sister to have to tell these little boys their aunt took her life. I don't want, because they're old enough, they'll be old enough to understand that. Years ago, with my mother's goddaughter, so who's like my little sister, I don't, because intellectually I know suicide is not the answer. When those doubts come, I have to have a process because they can be really overwhelming for me. Really overwhelming, where I say, oh, well, very much like you said, why, what am I doing? Why am I here? What? So I reach out for my support team, and I talk about in conquering adversity, having a support team is so important. Having people who listen. They gave you lube yesterday. They listened, they understood, and they validated you. I call that lube. Listen, understand, validate. And we need people who can just do that. Because sometimes when you're going through that time, you don't, sometimes but you have so much. Sometimes I just need someone just to listen,
Right.
So I'm glad you did that because you are awesome, and
thank you.
You should write the book, and I can't wait to read it.
I will write the book. I will. Actually, I'm almost wondering if maybe there was a reason I was having a writer's block and self-doubt, because just talking to you a few minutes ago, it has kind of like opened up the floodgates and triggered some things that, this is kind of the direction I should be actually taking this book in. So, yay!
Yay!
Yay. So, we all have those. And that's one of the reasons why on this show and in my blog post, I am super honest and open about my history and my life, because that way women out there who are watching, or even men who are watching, can see that, they're not alone. I suffer from depression. I have an eating disorder. I am struggling to lose weight. It's a challenge. That's my biggest challenge right now, is the weight loss. I struggle with self-esteem issues, and people need to know that not only are they not alone, but that you can overcome them and make something of yourself. I went from not knowing how to run a business or knowing what the heck I was even doing to I have a thriving 6-figure business that is 10 years old.
And see, I want to learn that. I'm learning that now because I've started the Rainbow Butterfly Cafe, and I'm learning how to do that. And I think when I first started, I'm like, oh, I'm going to start a business. And I had to give myself a break because I was beating myself up because it's not a 6-figure salary. It's barely a 1-figure salary
it's hard.
now. And I teach. I love where I currently work, but I know I'm moving on to the cafe, and here's in my office here at home. But I had to learn the process because I was an artist who said for years, I'm not a business person. I'm not I'm an artist, I'm not a business person. So it took a while for my mind to accept what it means to be a business person, and that there is a relation, there's a correlation. I can be and thinking of my acting in the business, but I had to. And now that I've done that, more opportunities like this. I mean, this is a great effort. Thank you, because this is a great opportunity for me just to get seen and talk to people in your niche and your network. And what a great opportunity, That's amazing.
Well, I have truly, truly enjoyed talking with you today. You've actually really kind of helped to inspire me and to get me out of this funk that I'm in. So this interview could not have come at a better time.
Well, I'm glad, I hope that's honestly what I hope I do. I mean, that's the thing, about hopefully adding value, is that if sharing my story can just, and it sounds so cliche, but I really mean it. If it really touches one person today and they make a different decision, or they say, hey, I can do that. If I did that, that's really what I want to do. And I know it's unpollyanna, but I don't care. That's who I am. That's why I have the cupcakes on my wall. And I like thinking that something I may say may impact somebody in a very positive way, and that's what I'm doing what I'm doing.
Well, you definitely did with me, and I'm sure you did with our audience as well.
Oh,
and I don't see how you couldn't have.
Oh, thank you, audience. Thank you very much for having me, and it's been awesome.
It's been fantastic. So I'm so glad to have met you, and I look forward to continuing to get to know you.
I would love that too. And can I just give out my website? Is that okay?
There's a button right below the video where they can just click, and they can go over to the Rainbow Butterfly Cafe and check it.
Awesome, great. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you so much, audience. Everybody, thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys on the next show. Bye now.